So we thought we'd make an intro video to set up our YouTube channel so that you guys would know what you're watching before you start watching.
Yeah, we're already sort of down the road on this, but we wanted to give some background and some insight into what's going on and how we got where we are for those of you who haven't been following along or are friends of ours.
New.
Yeah. So
that's Dave.
Hi.
You're supposed to say, and that's Amanda.
Oh, and that's Amanda.
And then there's an Odin dog, and he's our 120-pound Vizsla Rottweiler Hound mix.
M1 tank.
M1 tank. And then there's Freya over here, and she's our black and white pit bull mix rescue. Odin's almost 4, Freya's 3.5, and then there's Loki, who is our purebred Vizsla baby. He'll always be the baby. He can be 1,000,000 years old and be the baby. And then there's Powder, who's our old man. He's 12.5, a husky, mostly blind and has arthritis in his back and is overweight. And then we have 2 kitties that are not with us right now. Z, who's crazy. And
yeah, he's borderline feral.
But he's really our son's cat. And then we have Luna, who was supposed to be our son's cat, but attached herself to me. And they're both staying with my mom right now. So it's the 4 dogs and the 2 of us, and we are currently located in, where are we?
Coyle, Washington.
Coyle, Washington.
So, but this story starts in suburban Atlanta. Amanda and I met 14 years ago?
Something like that.
Yeah.
2006, however long ago that was.
So a while ago. And we've been together ever since. And, we've been living there, your typical suburban corporate jobs life. I'm in IT, she's in project management. And we've just been, doing what everybody does in suburban Atlanta with corporate jobs. We, bought a McMansion to support our insanity with the 4 dogs and the 3 kids and the 2 cats, and we had some turtles for a while, and just we needed room for the zoo, so we bought a big house in suburban Atlanta, and that's where we've lived for the last 13 years.
And we did that because we were waiting for our kids to graduate. We were both divorced, and our exes lived in the Atlanta area, and so for our kids to have healthy relationships with both sides, we had to stay close. And so we were basically counting down the past 5 or 6 years until they all graduated.
Right.
And so so our 3 kids, they're all adults now, and my daughter's living with my mom in Atlanta going to school. His daughter and his son are living with his ex-wife in Florida, and Alex, his daughter's in school, and I don't know what Ryan's doing.
He's working. Yep.
And so so it's just us out here right now with our kids on the other side of the country.
So and why this is isn't your typical kids empty nester exodus story is we left our suburban lifestyle and the nice neighborhood and the 2 Lowe's within 5 miles of us in 2 different directions, and just and we bought a piece of property in the middle of nowhere with no utilities, no nothing, and we came out here and we are eking out an existence. We've been here for about 3 weeks now. Month?
Over a month.
Okay. So over a month, and basically just there's nothing here, so we're living in a it's called a garage in a box. So basically we've turned this garage in a box thing into a shelter that we're living in, and we've been here for a month, and and we have a multi-phase approach to this that we'll get into later, but this is where we are.
So lots of people want to know why we went from Atlanta to the Olympic Peninsula. So why did we move here?
The place is gorgeous. I was stationed here when I was in the Army.
What happened?
And I fell in love with the place. And then Amanda had been out here on business travel, and she liked the place. And then so, we started talking. I've always wanted to come back to the Pacific Northwest. And we started talking about options, where we could go once the kids graduated. And we both liked it here. So we've taken several trips out here just to make sure it wasn't, the rose-colored glasses of the rearview mirror. And every time we come out here, it got reaffirmed that we just love the place. You can't look anywhere without seeing something that's absolutely beautiful. So this was the place.
So about 6 years ago, we decided this was the place. And then when Ryan graduated, year before last, 2019. Yeah. Anyway, when he graduated, we decided that it was time to pull the trigger. And I had this swath of properties to look at. We didn't know where exactly we wanted to be out here, just that we wanted to be out here. And so what started it was Port Townsend. We really liked Port Townsend. We found property that was on the water that we sort of kind of could afford. And that opened up the possibility of finding a piece of property like that.
Well, and we originally, we were looking on the other side of the Puget Sound. We were looking, around Everett and places that were close to, Seattle. Seattle was accessible. Mm-hmm. And then we took a tour around the Olympic Peninsula, and on a ferry ride, we just happened to wind up in Port Townsend and just loved the place. Mm-hmm. It's this little, small port town or harbor town. It's just a really cool little town.
Super cool.
So
that we found on one of our spring break trips when we were checking out neighborhoods. And at that point, we were still thinking that we needed to live accessible to Seattle for work purposes. But then we decided that with the pandemic and after checking out Port Townsend and seeing property out there, we started to open our minds to the idea of working from home all the time. And so, or changing our careers to support the lifestyle we wanted. And so that's when we started looking at different property. And then I had a list of property that fast forward to the list of property that we had. We didn't know where exactly we wanted to be with this, off-grid, work from home all the time dream. But we knew we wanted it to be a really cool property with a cool view.
Well, and the original list of properties, we didn't know exactly what we wanted. We knew we wanted to be out here and we wanted to be somewhere pretty. So it ranged everywhere from a half an acre in-town bungalow type thing in Port Townsend to a couple hundred acres out in the middle of nowhere east of the Cascades. That it would be, we'd need a helicopter to get to the property. So it was just, we wanted to take a look at everything that, just a wide swath of things and see, okay, is it accessible? Are there towns near here? It just figure out what it is we really wanted.
Yep. So the only thing Dave kept saying is that he wanted a bunch of property. And so the more acreage, the happier he would be. And so 4 or 5 days before we got on the plane, now mind you, I already had like 50 different properties. We couldn't look at all the properties in the time that we had. But a couple of days before we got on the plane, I started looking at a different website and ran into an 8-acre piece of Frey.
That's right.
The dogs are all around me. An 8-acre piece of property that was on the water, and we thought that it was too good to be true. But we put it on the list. So we came out, and it was the first property we looked at, and lo and behold, it was this one, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's spectacular.
So that's how we got here. That's why this area. That's why we're doing what we're doing. What else would you add?
Well, we were window shopping for this when we came out here. We weren't planning on buying anything.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And as soon as we found this, we were done. We called the agent and we were like, what
we made an offer before we left.
Yeah,
that's how serious we were.
So we looked at other properties and did due diligence, and it just, after 4 or 5 properties, we were both like, why are we even bothering at this point?
Yeah.
There's just
nothing that can touch it.
A little backstory. So part of the reason that the off-grid thing was a something that we thought might be desirable is a while back, Amanda started looking or watching YouTube channels about bus life, people converting school buses into RVs, and it was really cool. And I like the idea of the challenge of building all these systems out and making a bus into a livable thing. And we both like the idea of being able to go off and do live on BLM land and just travel around. And we did buy a school bus and we started converting it, and it ended up being a rust monster. We didn't know what we were looking for when we bought it, and we bought something that was that basically we shouldn't have. So, but long story short, we were still going to convert the bus and come out here. And I just, once I started digging in again, I realized that there was just way too much work to do on it, and it was time and money and effort that I could sink into that school bus, or it was time, money, and effort that I could sink into prepping and setting up the property out here, and we just chose to donate it to a charity. So.
Yeah, and the guy that ended up with the bus we didn't know what he was going to do with it, and Dave found out when he transferred the bus to him that he was using it for a shelter for homeless folks on cold nights. I got that right, didn't I? Yeah, which is really cool. Couldn't have picked a better home for the bus, so we're glad that worked out in the end. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. So we're gonna do what we can. Like I said, we're doing the intro video to set up the YouTube channel a month down the runway. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna try real hard over the next few days, week, or whatever, and put things online on YouTube in order, so it makes sense to watch it. I know we've put a lot of stuff on Facebook, but we know that a lot of people don't subscribe to Facebook or don't use Facebook. YouTube's open to people whether you got an account or not. So anyways, I think that's
it.
So,
all right.
So thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoy watching our videos.
The madness.
Yeah, it's even if it goes catastrophically wrong, it's still going to be pretty entertaining.
Yep,
so.
quite the adventure. Bye, guys.
Bye.